Welcome to this how to play video for the board game Dreaming Spires. Dreaming Spires is a board game for 3 to 5 players, and your aim in this game is to build the greatest college of Oxford University. You're going to start in the medieval era, at the beginning of the university's history, and you're going to take your college all the way through to the present day. You're going to be building buildings which will grow your college in front of you. You'll be admitting famous scholars from each era and using those scholars to improve your college's reputation. And you'll be dealing with historical events which will pit you and your rival colleges against one another. This guide is designed as an accompaniment to the rulebook. This is how you set up Dreaming Spires. The scoreboard goes in the centre, and then these are the building tiles. First you separate the quads and the gardens, then you shuffle up the rest and you deal 10 here, and the remainder are put here to refresh these when players take them. These are the cards. You can see these each have the grey card back. That shows they're from the medieval era, the first era of the game. The scholar cards, to set these up you shuffle them and then you deal 5 and put the remainder here. For the event cards you shuffle them, you deal 2. You put 1 revealed here straight away, and then this one for the second turn is ready here too. This is the money. Each player takes 4 coins randomly from the bag at the start of each era. And these are the reputation markers. These will mark your reputation on the scoreboard. So with everything set up, we're now ready to start the game. The first thing you do in a game of Dreaming Spires is determine which player is going to go first. That player will be the Chancellor for the first turn, and they get this ceremonial mace in front of them to remind other players that they're the Chancellor. Every turn you have 4 actions, and in the first turn of the game, your first action has to be building either a garden or a quad, because these are the only buildings which don't need to be put next to another building of the same colour. So I choose a garden, I place that in front of me, and now I'm able to build a mound, because a mound is the same colour as the garden, so it can be placed next to it like that. And the mound has a few icons on. This one up here is the status icon. It's a complete icon. So that means that now my college has 1 status. Here you've got a partial icon that can be made into a full icon by placing similar partial icons next to it from other buildings. And then finally here is the price. Not every building has a price, but the best ones do. And this one, it says 2, so that means I have to pay 2 money to build this building. So I put 2 back into the bag. I could have put 3 into the bag and taken 1 change, but I put 2 in. So, those are my first 2 actions. I have 2 remaining, and I'm now able, with my 1 status, to admit Thomas Wolsey. You see, he requires 1 status, that's why he has the same icon at the top of his card. And that means with my 4th action I can use Thomas Wolsey. There's 3 ways to use him. He has 2 subjects, politics and theology, so you can improve your college's reputation in either of those, or you can use his special ability. I'm going to choose to improve my college's reputation in politics. So I'm the red player, I'm going to put a red reputation cube into the number 1 box on the politics track. So that's the end of my turn, and now we replace any buildings and scholars that I took. So I took a scholar, so I'll put a new one out, and I took a building, put a new one out. And having done that, play would now pass clockwise to the next player. And once every player has taken a turn, it will be time for the event. So this event is a silent auction. There are 4 types of events, they each work slightly differently, but this one's a silent auction, and for one of these, each player takes an amount of money, can be none, and they place it into their closed fist. And then when everyone's ready, all the players reveal at once. So I have secretly put 5 money into my closed fist. That's what I'm bidding in the silent auction. Now, if 5 is not the most, if someone else bids 6 or more, I just keep my money. It goes back in my money store. If I win, then I pay the money into the bag. This is specifically for a silent auction. And having done that, if I won, I take the reward. So the reward here says 1 fellows. That means I put another one of my markers to 1 on the fellows track. there is another thing that could happen, which is it could be a tie. So the top bid could have been 5 from multiple players. Let's say that the green player also bid 5. That's fine, that's a tie, and they also get the reward in a silent auction. So, that would be the end of the event. Now, the event is also used to determine who is the Chancellor for the next turn. Now, normally it's just whoever wins the event, but in this case we've set up for it had been a tie between the green and the red player. And in the case of a tie, the current Chancellor chooses from among the tied players who will be the Chancellor in the next turn. Being a self-serving Chancellor, I'm going to choose that the Chancellorship stays with me. So next turn, I will also go first. Now let's look more closely at the placement of building tiles. The guiding rule here is that every building tile, except gardens and quads, must be placed next to another building of the same colour. Gardens and quads can be placed anywhere. So when you start a college, you always have to start with a garden or a quad. Having placed that, let's say you chose a quad, you can now place buildings which have grey in them. So this building has 2 colours. It only needs to have one of its colours touching another building of the same colour. Now you've placed the rooms, this college is able to build an SCR because they're the same colour. And if this player wanted to keep the option of using that half status icon, he could build the SCR there. To match colours, you only need to have half a side touching another building of the same type. You don't need a whole side. Now let's look at how the example college in the rulebook is built. This player started with a quad. His second building was a chapel, much like those rooms before. Then he chose to build a garden. This can be placed anywhere, so that's why those colours don't match. That's absolutely fine, because when the garden is placed, it doesn't have any rules, it can be placed anywhere. And now this player is able to complete his beauty icon with a fellow's garden. You'll notice this building is upside down. That's fine. It can be placed at any rotation you choose. And it's legally placed because it's a green building placed next to another green building, the garden there. And the final building is a church tower, and that is touching half a yellow side of that chapel, so that's legally placed as well. At the end of each era of the game, there is a scoring round. First you work out which scoring boxes are in play. And this board has been set up as if it were the end of a medieval scoring round. In a medieval scoring round, you just use the grey scoring boxes, much like the medieval cards have grey backs. The aim is to win as many of these 7 scoring boxes as you can. So, the first thing you do is you add up each player's score for each scoring box, and you mark the scoring box with a cube of the colour of the player who has the highest score. So, how do you determine score? Well, for each scoring box, it's your score in the subject above plus your score in the college area to the left. So here the blue player has a score of 3, 2 plus 1, and the green player has a score of 1. So the blue player is the winner there. And here, well, here both players have a score of 2. But, in the case of a tie, score from the subject is worth marginally more than score from the college area. So, it's 2-all, but the blue player wins this box as well, because his points are scored from the subject. Here the green player is going to win 2-1 against the blue player. And here the red player is going to win 2-1 against the green player. Here the green player is going to win 2-1-1 against the red and blue players. And here the red player is going to win. In this final box, we have another tie. The blue and the green player each have 1. Neither of them scored anything in the science track, so we can't decide who wins by one player scoring more in their subject. So we have to look at other tiebreakers, and the next tiebreaker is who has the largest college. That means how many building tiles you have in your college. So in this case, the blue player has more building tiles, so they win that box. Had they had the same number of building tiles, the next tiebreaker is how much money you have, and then after that the Chancellor decides who wins the scoring box. So that's the first round of scoring, and after a round of scoring you eliminate the player with the least number of scoring boxes. Now in this case we have another tie. The green and the red player each have 2. So again we look at the tiebreakers, and it's who has the largest college, and in this case the red player actually has a smaller college than the green player, so their cubes are removed from the board, they've come third, they're eliminated, and their reputation markers are no longer considered when you work out who's won a scoring box. These boxes are rescored, and in these cases this is going to be won by the green player, since that no longer counts, so it's just the only relevant reputation marker. And equally here, the green player wins this one too. So now we've reached the end of the scoring round because the final player is eliminated. They only had 3 versus the green player's 4, leaving just 1 player, and that means the green player has won. And since this is the medieval era, they get a free money draw. Now let's look at a scoring round from the final era of the game. So the first thing to do is remove the green player's cubes. They have been eliminated. So let's see who wins those scoring boxes now. The top one goes to the red player. This is using the same scoring rules as before. The next one, also the red player, and this other one is the blue player. So the red player has actually overtaken the yellow player here and is now in second place behind the blue player. The yellow player is now eliminated. Let's see who wins their scoring boxes. So starting with this column, top one goes to the red player. The next one is also for the red player. So is the third one. Over here, top one goes to the blue player, as does the second one. The final one goes to the red player. So the red player has come from behind and won the game. Thank you for watching this how to play video for Dreaming Spires. There's more detailed information about everything we've covered in our rulebook. If you still have questions, check out the Dreaming Spires page on Board Game Geek, or if you prefer, you can get in touch with us through Board Game Geek, through our website, secretgamescompany.com, or on Twitter, where we're at Secret Games Co. We really hope you enjoy the game.